everybody in Wrestling Review Society Facebook page, YouTube page, wherever you happen to be watching tonight, and especially a huge shout out to our newest platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Review Society has partnered with Real Pro Wrestling, based out of Florida, an independent wrestling company where they're doing absolutely amazing things. Such a fun time to watch. They had one of the most brutal death matches I've ever seen between Zach Monstar and Raven Havoc. If you haven't seen it, I strongly encourage you guys to go check it out. But we are live for the first time in Real Pro Wrestling's YouTube page. Once again, thank you to everybody over at Real Pro Wrestling for making this happen. I am now one of the commentators on the commentary staff for Real Pro Wrestling live events. I am the voice of Real Pro Wrestling. That name was given to me. I didn't come up with it, but I kind of dig it, and it's a great opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to see where this partnership between Wrestling Review Society and Real Pro Wrestling goes from here. I can't express my thank yous enough for that. Guys, before I bring my guests on and before I tell you what we're going to be talking about tonight, I want to take a chance to plug our amazing sponsors who make this show happen each and every week, starting with A-Rock Designs. A-Rock Designs is a custom business that makes all those cool wrestling cups you see floating around, like this Bullet Club cup that I'm currently using. All you have to do to place any order is go to A-Rock Designs on Facebook, the way it's spelled right here at the bottom of the screen, and place your orders with Ashley Rodriguez. If you're having any trouble finding the page, just message me and I'll point you in the right direction. Also, guys, WASF Championship Belts. WASF Championship Belts is one of the premier belt makers in the world today. Custom championships, replica titles. Let's face it, guys, if you're a wrestling fan, you either own a championship belt or you want to own a championship belt. If you're looking to start your collection or even add to your collection, WASF Championship Belts on Facebook. Go request to join. Place your orders through me. We have amazing payment plans set up for any budget. And this month, guys, on Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, we have a 30% off sale. So starting on Friday, going all the way to the next Sunday, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a 3-day sale. Any belt priced $300 or more will be 30% off. And all you have to do to lock in that price is make your deposit on the belt. So utilize our payment plan, don't break the bank, and get yourself a pretty awesome Christmas present this year. WASF Championship Belts on Facebook. Last thing, guys, before we get started, we have merch available, such as this hoodie that I am currently wearing, the Wrestle Hub hoodie. Everybody seems to like this design for some reason, like they've seen it before. But anyway, guys, if you go to storefrontier.com and search Wrestling Review Society, you'll see all of our amazing Halloween hoodies that we have. They will be pulled very soon, guys, so if you want to get your hands on our Halloween Horsemen, our Family Affairs, Child's Play, Nightmare Before Christmas, or any Halloween design that we have up, guys, all you have to do is go to storefrontier.com, search Wrestling Review Society, and all those will be available in hoodies, short sleeve, long sleeves, women's shirts, kids shirts, face mask, and even tie-dye shirts, guys. There's a multitude of different colors you can choose. It's very customer friendly. Go score yourself some merch today. Last thing, guys, here on Wrestling Review Society's YouTube channel. So for all of you who are watching who are not watching on Wrestling Review Society's YouTube channel, listen up, guys. We are having another giveaway. We just had a massive giveaway when we hit 1,000 members. Our next giveaway will be at 1,500 members. We are 250 members away. So if you're watching this on any other platform, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel. I put the link in the description. Just click that link, hit sub, and as long as you're subscribed to the channel, you are eligible to win any future giveaway that we have. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. We pay the shipping. We pay for everything in the package. You pay absolutely nothing. It is a free giveaway, and it is our way to say thank you for all of the love and support that you guys give us each and every week. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Let us know you're enjoying the show. With that being said, guys, I want to go and bring on my guest. One person you'll recognize. One person is making his War Room debut, and I'm very happy to have him. With that being said, guys, you have seen him all over TikTok. You have seen him all over the War Room. He is now the most reoccurring guest I've had on the War Room, surpassing his friend Hugs, surpassing my friend Hugs, making his triumphant return as the War Room leader, my War Room general, the Macho Fan, Sandy Ravage. General, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's only right that you call me the general because I am wearing the Sergeant Slaughter shirt today.
You
so that
are
only
wearing
makes
the Sergeant
sense.
Slaughter shirt.
So let's go. Also, hey, Heel Hugs, how you doing? We need to get you back on here.
You have jumped over Hugs by 1 or 2 episodes. We're not quite sure, but we know you're in the lead now. And it's always great to have you until you start talking about that damn Orange Cassidy.
Hey, you picked him last
Stop
time.
it. Stop it.
Speaking of
Stop it.
Cassidy,
Don't do it. Anyway, guys, somebody that I've become really good friends with, somebody who is a very funny guy, awesome knowledge about wrestling, has a very old school mind for wrestling, and somebody I really enjoy talking to. If you guys don't know him, you are going to know him. You need to look him up on TikTok, on Discord, on Facebook, anywhere you can find him. Ladies and gentlemen, making his War Room debut, the man, the myth, the absolute legend, Remy.
What's up? How y'all doing tonight?
Remy, do you ever change that beanie? Do you have more than one, or is it the same one every
I have
time?
the cowboy hat. I have the cowboy hat. I have the cowboy hat. Hugs' favorite. I even had to put it in a promo for him. Hugs like, you have to do the promo with the cowboy hat. I was doing the shooter thing, and I was like,
Oh, it's already started.
let's
Orange.
go.
Already started.
Well, we have Remy Cassidy, and then we have Orange Kevin D
Why
over here.
always back on my cousin Orange, you know? I'm just saying, by the way, the first thing, and I opened TikTok the other day, was you predicting Orange Cassidy. Ryan pointed himself saying, I'm going to be the one to clip it and put it on. And I just died. I'm like, thank God there's evidence that Kevin picked Cassidy to win clean. Like, day is made.
You know, I did pick Orange Cassidy, and I was right. We were talking about this backstage. We kind of came on last week. We gave a preview of Full Gear. And by the way, guys, what an amazing card it was. It had its issues. You know, we've come to expect, look, whenever you put people in, you have this thing called human error. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. You're going to have hiccups, and you're going to have little bumps along the way, but their ability to really keep their head on the swivel and address these issues as they happen has been nothing short of spectacular. There's really only one thing we could go back to, being the Matt Hardy incident, where we could really penalize them for not being on top of things as it happened. But you know, All Out was a shit show with the Matt Hardy incident. But I feel like they really answered back with Full Gear. Before we break into the matches and talk about what happened last night on Dynamite, because there was some things last night on Dynamite that definitely deserve being talked about.
Yeah.
What were your guys' thoughts on Full Gear? Remy, you watched this in its entirety.
Yeah.
Let's go to you, and then we'll have Sandy round us out before we break into the matches.
I think my first thing about Full Gear was that they opened with Hangman versus Kenny Omega, and I'm just like, where does the rest of the card go from this? You know what I mean? Like, this is easily match of the year on almost any card. You know, I was just so shocked that they opened the show with that.
But you know, I like that approach because you hear this all the time. You hear people say, "Okay, well, the first match goes here, then here, then here," and you got to be able to one up it. Now, I understand that puts a heavy load on the rest of the card. They better show up to work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's great for the fans because it makes the other performers produce that higher level. It makes them really show up, and it makes them really step their game up. And I want to take one quick second to give a huge shout out to my man Zachy Taylor. Zach is the owner of Real Pro Wrestling, guys. We are live on his company's YouTube page for the first time ever. I am one of his new commentators. I am the voice of Real Pro Wrestling due to the opportunity given to me by my buddy Zach Taylor. Zach, thank you so much, buddy, and we're going to do our best to make you proud in this next hour. Sandy, your thoughts on Full Gear?
I think this was one of the best pay-per-views of all wrestling companies all year round this year. Like, even in COVID times, they're able to put out a stellar show. We saw every single match was a B+ or higher, in my opinion. Even like pre-show kind of stole the show for me in the get-go because I never really seen much of Serena Deeb, and she kind of stole the show before the show even kicked off. And then, like you're saying, Remy, when you start off with Omega and Hangman, it goes back to the old saying though that we hear in WWE all the time: if you're not going to main event, you're going to be first. And that's what kicked off the show. And I'm kind of sad I didn't see this coming, but it was the perfect way to start off the show, like you guys were saying. Like, if you bring it off with a 5-star match, everyone else is going to be like, I got to top that. And it felt like they did, at least for the most part. Like, Kenny Omega's, their one was a better match, but everyone else tried to match that, which was perfect.
No, and I would 100% agree with everything you said. And you know, normally me and you are the ones that go back and forth on these shows and stuff. That's why I like having you on. It's always good to have a difference of opinion. But I really have to agree with you on everything you just said. And you know, let's go ahead and start with the NWA Women's Championship match, because we got a little Easter egg. We got a little snippet. We got a little taste left on the tongue after this match. So, little backstory. Deeb wins the title from Thunder Rosa. Everybody starts going crazy on the rumor mill. Oh, Thunder Rosa's going to WWE. She just signed developmental. She's going to WWE. That's why she dropped the title. And that made me believe that Deeb was a transitional champion as they were trying to get the belt back to Sienna. They had a fantastic match. I've always been a Sienna fan. Allison Kay, Sienna, same person. I really didn't know much about Serena Deeb. I've never really seen her before. So I was really pulling for Allison Kay in this match. But Deeb gets the win. And then Thunder Rosa comes out after. But guys, I got to take one quick second of pause for the cause. Before we break down this match, we have a very special guest joining us at this time.
Oh,
He's become nothing short of a brother to me. I love this man like he's my own flesh and blood. He is the owner of Real Pro Wrestling. He is the reason we are in their channel right now. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my best friends in the world, the Human Horror Show, the wood chipper of professional wrestling, Zachy Taylor, Zach Monstar.
What's up?
Let's go.
And a half. Jesus.
That's why you signed me to your commentary team.
Like, what's up, boys? We were talking wrestling, and I'm bored at work. I had nothing better to do, so I was like, let's do this instead.
So why don't you start us off? Your thoughts on the NWA Women's Championship match and Thunder Rosa, somebody we thought was going to WWE, coming out at the end.
Okay, so I have watched Thunder Rosa for years, man. Like, I love everything that I've ever seen from her on the independent scene. And what made me, like, really, really fall for Thunder Rosa, like, as, like, a personality, not just as a wrestling character, she was said, I would rather have my freedom than be a slave. And I was like, damn. Like, that's all right. I respect that. I respect the hell out of that. Allison Kay, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Man, she's so talented. She really is.
Absolutely.
And I think, honestly, like, the girls had a good match. Like, and that's hard for me to say because I'm not, like, the biggest fan of women's wrestling, and it's not taking away from them in any way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to be
stuck
that
with that
guy.
stigmatism for such a long time of the bra and panties matches, the 30-second hair pull matches. We've just recently, with the era of Bayley and Becky and Charlotte and all these other girls coming in, where we've actually been able to appreciate women's wrestling, and women's wrestling is no longer the piss break. So I'd have to agree that, even though we're not in that time anymore, it's kind of hard to get that stigmatism out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and then you watch some of the girls on the independent scene who, they go out there and they're scared to break a nail, or they go out there just because they love the applause from the crowd and stuff like that. Like, man,
We've talked about a few of these, Zach.
We have, and that's the thing, man. When you look at women wrestling, like, there's definitely a strong middle line where the ones that are like, I'm here to do this, and I'm here to represent, like, who I am and put, like, a flag on my name in this business. And then there's the ones that are like, yeah, I'll do custom matches for $300 in my underwear because I've got nothing better to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a hard line. And Allison Kay, Thunder Rosa are two individuals that will go out there and they will throw down. And I respect that. Like, I enjoy watching them work as a professional.
Absolutely. Sandy and Remy, anything you guys want to put in on this match before we move to the next one?
I mean, for me, it was impressive because I'd actually never seen either of them before. They were new to me.
What?
And I thought that, yeah, I hadn't seen them before.
See, I never saw Deeb before,
yeah.
but I was a huge Allison Kay fan.
They tore it down, and I actually liked that match more than the AEW Women's Championship match, to be honest. I thought they blew them out of the water. If I would have had Nyla Rose and them open and have them on the actual card because you can't compare.
Although there was one part in there that we have to talk about when we get to that match. But
I think I know what you're talking about.
This match really splits me and Zach. I'm surprised he liked it so much because one of the things me and Zach go back and forth with, I love traditional chain wrestling. Zach hates it.
Really?
Okay.
He hates it. Zach doesn't like rest spots. For those of you who don't know, and Zach, I know you don't like telling people this. You're a very humble person, but Zach is the tag team partner of Ryzen. Everybody knows who Ryzen is. They are Satanic Panic. They dominate the Florida scene. They really know their shit when it comes to wrestling. And Zach is, when the bell rings.
Oh, we cut out there.
I was going to say we lost Kev. Kev down.
Oh.
Kev down.
We lost Kev. Oh no.
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Come back.
But going back to this Serena Deeb real quick, I just want to point out one thing. Her dragon screw looks devastating, especially because she's like a smaller person. Like she's not like big. Like seeing Allison Kay was kind of like seeing a Charlotte Flair versus like a Becky Lynch with Serena Deeb. And her dragon screw, she could like rip that leg. It was pretty good. Like you don't see a dragon screw like that anymore. And he's back. Let's go.
Like, all right, we got this.
I was just saying, Zach absolutely hates rest spots. He's more the new school wrestler, and he does fantastic at it, but he absolutely hates traditional wrestling. We argue about this back and forth with chain wrestling, so I'm surprised he liked it as much as he did. By the way, I've got a 4-year-old who really likes to trip over my Wi-Fi cord, so that's what happened. Sandy, I'm sorry to cut you off, man.
No, you're good. I was just going off of just Serena Deeb, how impressive she was. She's such a smaller person. It reminded me of what Casey Catanzaro could have been.
That submission is really good.
That Serenity Lock looked
I really
good.
liked it.
And
it's a combination of like the hook that Pentagon uses for his arm breaker and a half Boston Crab. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, and made Allison look strong too because she's such. I was saying she looks kind of like a Charlotte Flair, is who she reminded me of. And so it was nice just to see all that and just see them together. It worked really well. They have really good chemistry. I would like to see them both, all three of them, get signed to AEW. They need it in the women's division right now.
Yeah, that's probably where they're struggling the most in AEW with the women's division. I've seen a few people say that, and I have to agree. Like the women's division in AEW is probably like their weakest part.
Yeah, and it's just because of injuries right now. I love Chris Statlander. I love Britt Baker. Big Swole's great. Like I love seeing all these women wrestle, but they just need to keep them healthy.
So let's go to one match that, and it kills me to say this, but I have a problem with this match. And I really didn't want to have a problem with it. I really wanted to enjoy the match, and I'm not trying to be super critical. But we're going to go ahead and go into the TNT Championship match. Ooh. Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. Fantastic match. I love the back and forth. I had one major issue with it, guys, and I think some of us are going to agree on this. I thought the Avalanche Crossroads was great. We haven't seen it in AEW yet. And what a time to pull it out. You have Darby Allin, who's one of the fastest rising stars in AEW. I think we all knew he was going to win. We all picked him to win. But what I didn't like is, well, before I tell you what I didn't like, I want to bring up one thing because it's going to come up later in the show. The way that Avalanche Crossroads was broken up. Darby rolls clear across the ring and gets his foot under the rope unknowingly. Keep that in mind for one of the matches we're going to talk about coming up soon. But I didn't like the finish to this match. I didn't like the Cody pin, reverse to Darby pin, reverse to Cody pin, reverse to Darby pin, and Darby gets it. It should have been one reverse and get it by surprise. That's it. Once you start going back and forth, it's like you expect it, so why couldn't you kick out? And you can't tell me Darby over-leveraged Cody. He's got, 60 pounds, 80 pounds on the kid? I call him a kid, but he's a grown-ass man. But you guys get what I'm saying. That's really the only nitpick I have about this match. It should have been the one reverse, surprise, get the pin, call it a day. But I did like the show of sportsmanship at the end when Cody presented the title. It really showed that not only do they endorse him with the fans, but Cody being one of the EVPs, the company also endorses him as their champion. And well-deserved. I really enjoyed the match. That was just my one nitpick. Let's go to Zach because we don't know when you're going to have to cut out for work. Go to Zach, Sandy, and then Remy. Your thoughts on this match?
I personally enjoyed it, man. Honestly, that was the match that I was able to actually tune into. So I missed Omega and Paige. I had to go back and I had to watch that. The same thing with Thunder Rosa and the Pinky.
First stare down at the end.
Thank you. So Darby and Cody is actually what I first got to tune into. And the main thing that popped me for this match is he finally got his name back. You know what I mean? That was a huge thing for me this entire time because every time he got announced as Cody and Brandy Rhodes, it killed me a little bit, Mm-hmm. So to see him stand alone with the actual Rhodes name, I was I instantly knew that he was dropping the title because he has everything that he needs. You know what I mean? There's nothing else that Cody possibly needs in AEW. He's got his name. He's got his actual name.
Who all popped when you heard Justin Roberts say Rhodes?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect it. We talked about that on the other show, but when he just said Cody and he didn't draw it out, I was like, is he gonna do it? And then he
Mhm.
did it, and my Twitter, my Facebook, my Messenger just blew up. He's Rhodes again.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
One of the
One
most
of my
electric
favorite,
moments of that match wasn't even the wrestling match.
Yeah.
right, it was the announcement of the name. Like, one of my favorite spots in that match was when Cody dropped the belt behind him and Darby went in between him, grabbed Cody's belt, his weightlifting belt, and then snapped him like
Yeah.
to make it bump. I was like, I love it. I love
You know,
it.
that's been one of my biggest things about Darby, and I know I give a lot of crap to, you know, by no means do I think we're in the bodybuilder era anymore.
Mhm.
Wrestlers come in all different shapes and sizes. They're all great as long as they really dedicate themselves to their art form. But one thing that I've really enjoyed about Darby is he understands he's a smaller guy and he makes you wrestle him. He makes you wrestle to his style. He doesn't try to out big man a big man. He makes
Mhm.
that big man wrestle like a little man. And I think he's done a fantastic job of it. That's why I can get behind a Darby Allin, but some of these other guys I just couldn't. I think Darby does a really good job at playing to his strengths.
He
Sandy, what'd
does.
you think of the match?
I thought it was a fantastic match. I agree the ending was a little too played out. The one thing I can say for Darby Allin was when you're going that long of a match, it kind of plays to his strengths to kind of be more movable. Maybe he did get Cody in that road where Cody is a bigger guy. He gets stuck on his back shoulders. He might have the 80 pounds, but he can't kick out like he could. And so it
Mhm.
kind of gave that element of like, oh, Darby can get him in a good position, keeps Cody strong. The one thing I did really not like about this match, and they keep teasing us, and I don't like it. I just want to get it. I want Sting in AEW. They teased it for so long for that one, and then on AEW Dynamite, they called Scorpio Sky's Scorpio Deathlock in honor of the Scorpion Deathlock, and they actually made call to it. So I'm really hoping that we're going to get Sting here shortly. But other than that, the match was great. The ending with Brian Cage coming out and attacking, like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, waiting for someone big to come out. And then it's kind of just Will Hobbs. Don't get me wrong, Will Hobbs he's a great worker. I love seeing what he does. Haven't seen much of him, but I was expecting someone just a little bigger pop to come out at the end there.
Yeah, and just want to take a quick second to mention my fellow admin in Wrestling Review Society, Tyler Peck. He came over, watched the show with me. My house went nuts. We had about 8 people here, and all wrestling fans. And as soon as we heard Rhodes, we all just lost our shit. So Tyler, thanks for watching the show, buddy, and thanks for all you do for the page. Remy, your thoughts on the match?
I love the match. I feel like on a lot of cards, that's the match of the night straight up. Again, the ending, I agree with you. I feel like the surprise pin works better. And that, like, I just didn't think it was going to end like that. I was like, really? You know what I mean? Like, I think Cody Rhodes is tremendous. One of the reasons I like Cody Rhodes so much in AEW is that he's not like Jeff Jarrett was in TNA, which was one of my biggest fears when I found out that he was starting his own wrestling company. Like, you're going to make yourself champ. Like, we saw Jeff Jarrett with the King of the Mountain shit, and he was constantly like booking himself over everyone. Cody made himself not in the title picture. He really passed the torch cleanly to Darby there.
Yeah.
And I agree with you about the ending. My issue with the ending, though, was he had the whole Rhodes family come out with him originally, right?
Yeah.
Where the hell were any of them when they were attacked? No one. Dusty didn't come out. He wasn't even on the card. Like, they were all like there in the area. And they're just
That's
like,
because Dusty passed away.
Yeah,
That's why
Justin,
Dusty wasn't there. What are you? What are,
wow,
ladies and gentlemen?
yeah.
Remy's experiencing technical difficulties. When he gets his mind right, we will allow him to come back. Rest in peace, Dusty Rhodes,
Why
the
wasn't
American
Dustin there?
Dream. But
Dustin hasn't been
Dustin
there for so many
Rhodes,
years, man.
Dustin Rhodes was there.
I got put in timeout. But yeah, like the whole Rhodes family was there, and they all just like left Cody out to dry. I was just like, you're there. You're not on the card. It's not like you're even working. You didn't have a match or anything. Like, go help your brother. Do something. Earn your pay.
So let's talk about one of the matches. And whenever you can be signed by a major company, whenever you've been, and Zach, you know this more than any of us do, when you've grinded away on the independent scene, you finally get signed by a major company, you're a top-level athlete. I hate to say worst match of the night. I hate to say, disappointment or bathroom break, but that's really what this was, except for one part. And I'm talking about the AEW Women's Championship match, Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose. the only two things I liked about this match, guys, is one, Hikaru Shida retains, and two, the way she retains. She hits that avalanche Falcon Arrow. She gets the 2 count, and then she picks Nyla up. As soon as she picked her up, I was like, this chick is a friggin' gangster. I loved it. But then I saw Vicky get involved. I thought there was going to be some shenanigans, which there were. But Hikaru Shida worked around it. And then she takes her back in the ring and knees her in the face 5 to 7 times. And then gets a dominant pin cover, like a full mount pin cover. And it's like I said, guys, Sandy, when we were on the prediction show, if they really want to establish that title and they really want to establish Hikaru Shida as a dominant champion, she had to beat Nyla Rose. I did not think she was going to beat her that dominant, but I'm very glad that they did because I think it really adds to the stock of Hikaru Shida. Sandy, what were your thoughts?
I am 100% agreement, oddly enough. I was really expecting...
Dude, this is weird for us. We don't agree. What are we doing?
I was thinking Nyla Rose should have gone over in this match. It makes Nyla Rose look weak is the worst part about this match. Is she's supposed
That's the best part about the match. It made her look weak.
See, this is where we disagree again. She's their most dominant
I had to get back on the right track.
It's okay. She's their most dominant force in the women's division, unless we're going to count... I can't think of her name right now, but she's injured with Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong's injured right now, so she's not even coming back. And so if you're going to put Nyla Rose and you're going to give her Vicky Guerrero, you would expect that she's going to go over. The other thing about this match is at the end when Nyla Rose kind of just left Vicky. So does that mean Vicky's going to go on? Go off to somebody else? Like, it just didn't work out the chemistry wise. Another fun fact is like Nyla Rose's outfit was kind of was something a little bit different.
I'll be honest with you, and I'm probably going to get heat for saying this. I think they're going to be done with Vicky. I don't think she's going to. If she doesn't stay with Nyla, I think she's out. In my opinion, when did they bring Vicky in? When did they really bring her a part of AEW? Right after the Eddie Guerrero Dark Side of the Ring episode. Or not Eddie Guerrero, but the Chris Benoit episode.
Yeah.
That featured David Benoit and Vicky Guerrero more than anybody. So I'm not saying they were trying to capitalize on what was hot with wrestling at the time, but we've seen AEW really capitalize on pop culture, what the fans wanted, and everybody watches Dark Side of the Ring. That episode in itself was so emotional. It was so well put together, told an amazing story, really let you behind the scenes for one of the first times ever in an all expose episode. And
I want David Benoit.
It really gave us all a place in our heart for Vicky. And that's when she started popping up on AEW. So I don't want to say that they brought her in just because of that. But if I did say it, you can't argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I can say is I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you are wrong in any way, shape, or form. But because of what her last name is, gives her all the credibility in the entire world.
I agree.
It really does. So when you have somebody like a Chavo or a Vicky, as long as you have that Guerrero name and it's somewhere in wrestling, it's instantly going to make people tune in to go, hey, it's good to see them again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really think about it, man, like, after Eddie passed, like, you didn't really see too much of Vicky, and then all of a sudden Vicky was all over WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But they were having her do like these really stupid gimmicks and like
Married to Edge, Ziggler, the mud wrestling match.
They made Vicky out to almost kind of be like a hoe, and then which I thought was super disrespectful and like my own opinion. Because like here's Eddie, and then here's everybody else. It was rough, you know? But I think AEW was smart allowing Vicky just to be a part of the product because her name value ups the product. And that's not a bad ploy.
No,
you know
what
I mean?
was a bad ploy is when she used the lie, cheat, and steal moniker for Nyla.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was horrible. That was horrible. That would be like if Nyla went out there and hit the Three Amigos. Like, you instantly are disgusted and you just want to turn it off because, one, we all know Nyla can barely do a fucking suplex. All right? Let alone three of them. But that's what it was. It was, how do we put eyes onto what we are doing right here at this point in time? Now, Nyla earned a lot of traction for herself because she was a transgender wrestler.
I agree with this comment. They should have switched the two matches. Nyla should have been on the opener, and the NWA Women's Championship match, which I feel really showcased women's wrestling and chain wrestling, should have been on the main card.
Mm-hmm. No, and I completely agree with that. Like, I've never seen a Nyla Rose match that, like, I genuinely liked. And that's not saying that, like, she's a bad worker. Like, I know I talk shit, but, like, because she's not. Like, it's just hard for me to sit there and be entertained and watch her work.
Yeah, and you know, that's the greatest thing about pro wrestling. I've said this to all of you at some point in time. Everybody has their own opinions, and we don't have to agree. This is what makes shows like this fun, is because we can come on here on an open forum and have these debates and these talks. Remy and Sandy, were there anything else you guys wanted to say about this match?
I personally, like, I saw the first one when she won the title from Nyla, and I thought that match was infinitely better. This one I felt like they just put on the card to put on the card. Like, this one had none of the intensity of the first match. I didn't feel like there was a story. Like, as I said, like, it felt like it was just done to be done. And it kind of just fell flat. Like,
Sam, here's your shout out. Shout out to Sam.
Yeah, it just fell flat, which sucks because I honestly think the champ is such a good worker, and she should be put in, like, better spots. But I feel like she kind of got screwed there because she's a phenomenal worker, but the match with Nyla just really fell flat. The second one,
I don't think it was a complete buzzkill. I still give it like a B on the card just because of the story it told with Hikaru Shida. Like we were saying, like, she is their Asuka now. She is their dominant force. The best thing they got in their women's division, and it's hands down, and it's no question.
And I agree with that. I have to agree with Sandy because I'm not the biggest Nyla fan in the world. We all know this. I've made no bones about it. Yeah. But when you build somebody to be that dominant, that much of a monster, and then you have Hikaru Shida come in and win in such a dominant fashion, whether she won the championship or not, she still contributed to making it an established title because I'm the monster. You beat me in a dominant way. So now by me taking this fall, by me giving you this match, by me working this match with you, it has elevated not only you, but also that championship. So I can't really sit here and knock Nyla all night long because she did contribute to establishing that championship to a true championship.
The thing was, my issue wasn't that so much. It's just the match would have been fine if it was on any other card. I think it was just the quality of all the other matches that made that one sit out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean?
It's not necessarily that they did bad. It's just everyone else did
bad. It's just like, again, we opened with, you had the first women's match, which was amazing. Then you had Kenny Omega and Adam Page. You had Darby Allin. Like, you had all these matches that were just, like, super high. And the second you have something that's just not of that caliber, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. I agree. The best part of the match was the finish and how dominant it made Shida look. But, again, my part was just, it just didn't live up with the rest of the card.
So, I've heard a lot about this next match. It's been very 50-50 with the fans. I typically tend to not like matches like this, but I thought this was great. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was gold. We have the Elite Deletion at the Hardy compound. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Very cinematic match. A lot of stuff going on. We had fireworks. We had monster trucks. We had the what does he call it? The Lake of Reincarnation. We had Shane Helms. We had Gangrel. This was just a hodgepodge of everything in wrestling, everything in theater, everything in the world of cinema and acting thrown into one. And it was like the alphabet soup of wrestling. It had everything in it. I thought it was great. I really did. I mean, obviously there are some things in there where you go, okay, that's clearly not believable. But take this from a traditional wrestling fan. When you get out of the idea or when you get out of the mindset that everything has to be believable, you will really enjoy this match. Sandy, I know this is probably something you've really been wanting to talk about, so why don't you start us off?
I love this match. I was honestly not expecting you to like it so much. I know the pop.
I loved it. Yeah.
Because we've been talking about cinematic matches all quarantine this year because we've seen such an abundance of them in such different fashions. Matt Hardy does them the best. Hands down, like Ultimate Deletion, Final Deletion, Elite Deletion, all the ones that they've done are always entertaining to a point that he's mastered the sense of you have to kind of make it like cinematic in a sense. You're watching something, so you have to follow the storyline, but then you put a match in there. You add some moves. You make it seem like it's a fight instead of John Cena and Bray Wyatt in a funhouse.
You know what it is, Sandy, and I credit this a lot to all of you here on the screen, to guys like Hugs and Josh and people that I've been talking to and getting to know. I'm such a traditional wrestling fan that I've always been under the mindset that if I can't believe that happened in real life, it's trash. That's not necessarily the case, and I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to get out of that mindset where I don't necessarily have to believe it, but I want to be entertained, and I can't think of a time in this match where I wasn't entertained. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only thing that I thought was in bad taste, and you know me, I have to have a nitpick or two. The only thing I thought that was in bad taste was when they kind of made light of the concussion spot when Sammy went out of the ring through the tables and they showed the fake blood behind him. I really thought that was distasteful. I get how it plays toward their history, and like I said, AEW capitalizes on what's hot. What have they done that set us all on fire most recently? It's that concussion spot. So I get why they did it. I just don't agree with it. But you take that out of it, dude, I was sitting back on my couch laughing, enjoying it, popping at every person I saw, Hurricane and Gangrel and Private Party coming in. Thought it was fantastic.
I agree. I like the fact that they made the 6-man tag team element of it by bringing in Gangrel and Shane Helms. Is like it just added numbers to there, so it didn't seem off-putting. It's like, why would Sammy go there alone? He really didn't. And so like there was all those elements to it that made it good. I agree, the distaste in the mark, but then you got to think Matt Hardy wrote and scripted all this out, so he was okay with it. That's something on his idea. He wanted to make light of it, so we didn't have to worry about it anymore. Because in the end, it was Matt's call. Dumb it is not, he made the choice himself.
I do want to see how he pitched that idea to Ruby, though.
Yeah, I would. Rebby,
I would have liked to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
I'm sure she's like, I'm just close the door. I'm not watching. Like it had to be something like that. She was the one that was most up in arms about it.
Wrestling wives are an animal in their own. Like they are, they are a species of their own. And I can say this because of being friends with guys like Zach. His wife Heather is she's like a pit bull. She's
a monster.
She's
the serial
you just want
killer.
to pet her. You just want to pet her, but you get too close, she'll rip your head off. Zach, being in a wrestling marriage and your wife being the wife of a wrestler, how do you think that conversation would have went over if you wanted to make fun of something that she took so personally?
Honey,
yeah, take
sit down. So listen, I had this idea, right? And I know it's been blowing up all over social media, but I feel like the best way to get over it is to make light of it. Dodge frying pan, Dodge toaster. Is that the microwave? Like my wife don't play that. Every time I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna do a death match, and like, oh, I've got this gusset plate and I want to take it to my eyeball or something stupid. She's like, you want to do what? With who? Who's gonna do it to you? And I'm like, I instantly regret changing all of my minds. Like, we have every time we go and we check out a new venue, I always look around because I'm like, what can I jump off of in here? So now I'm not even allowed to go in the venue first. She has to go in the venue and approve whether or not I can go in because she knows that I'm going to find something to jump off of. Like, wrestling wives are crazy. And like, I get it. Like, they're there because it's like our own safety because we're idiots. Like, we don't necessarily care about our well-being as long as everybody else is entertained. Like, I think that's how, like, you build your legacy, like,
did anybody else see how fast he popped up when I mentioned wrestling wives being a species of their own? That's why I did it, because I knew I was going to hit a nerve with that one. But
my wife is one of the most understanding individuals I've ever met in my entire life. But she's also like mixed breeded with a velociraptor, and I just don't like to mess with that. I don't like to touch that side.
Remy, what'd you think of the match, man?
So I've always been a huge Hardy Boy, Mark. Like always, always, always. Jeff's one of my favorites. I grew up like worshiping the Hardys. I loved it.
I mean, who didn't do this walking through the halls of their high school?
Right? And like
You
I
guys-
studied theater and acting, so like the whole like over the top dramatic stuff, like it's like if I was a wrestler, I would love to do something like that because it's just so over the top, it's so exaggerated. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys ever read the Hardy Boys biography years and years ago, but Matt used to talk about how if it's not real, he can't get into it. That was Matt. That's literally a quote from Matt Hardy because he was talking about Jeff's ladder match with Rob Van Dam about how they weren't climbing for the title ever. He's like, if I don't believe it's going on, like, why am I going to get into this match? And now look at Matt doing these kind of matches.
Absolutely.
So that shows how he's involved with the business too.
And I got to address this comment, Tyler. I know you saw the video of the wrestler picking my son up and using him as a weapon. Yeah, that was Zach, by the way. So he would definitely rip. Yeah, the first live show I ever took my son to, Zach picks him up and hits him. Uses my son. He hits a dude with another dude. He uses my son as a weapon.
I would never.
I have video footage, Zach.
It's not me. It's the
I
wrong
need,
guy.
to, I need to see this video footage. That's actually amazing.
It doesn't even look like me.
It was great. So I've kind of wanted to save these banger matches for last. So before we get into some of the highlights of the night, let's go and address this one that we all knew was going to happen. You're not going to get me to say it again, Sandy, so don't even try. But let's go and talk about this one.
Yeet.
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy, the best thing in wrestling today.
freshly squeezed.
Zach, you ever been kicked off your own page?
Well, there's a first for everything.
Oh, Sandy, let's go, man.
I love this match. Like
It was a good match.
it was a very good match. We didn't get a lot from Orange Cassidy. I'm not gonna lie. He only went up to 34.4%. So hey, we're still working our way up. But I do love the pocket rip out. That kind
I
of
was
stole
just
the
about to
match
say
for
that.
me. When he ripped out the pockets, it just added a new element. You know, Orange Cassidy's not gonna get new ones, so I wonder what's gonna happen. But we're gonna see. I hope we just like start to see him like hang dong out of the one. I'm just kidding. Don't say
Oh,
that.
easy now, easy now.
But like, I do love the fact where he was like, and they ripped the pockets out, added a new element to it. One thing I liked about this match is John Silver played into the gimmick and made it look strong. Like even though the ghost kicks weren't working, he's like, those don't hurt. Those don't hurt. It's not about the hurt. It's about just the distraction of it. Because once you get them riled up, they're gonna attack. That's when Orange Cassidy does the relax and roll, and then he comes back and hits them with. Well, the orange punch, he hits them with the beach break, and then we get the 1, 2, 3, and it was just an epic match, short, sweet, and not too long, but not too short either.
No, I loved the pocket rip. I popped for it.
It was good heel work.
It
Yeah.
was.
It
And
was.
I'm kind of looking at Orange Cassidy almost the way. Now this is going to go far left field, and before anybody rips me apart in the comments, allow me to explain. I look at Orange Cassidy like the drunk driver. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. What's one thing that you're always told? You know, the reason people who are driving drunk typically don't get injured or get less injured is because their body is so relaxed, they're so free floating, and that's kind of like what Orange Cassidy does. He just chills. He's just there. He's a human puddle. You can't really hurt him. He's just limp. He goes everywhere, and you spend all this time and energy trying to wear him out, and he's just Mr. Cool Guy, just sitting here.
Clip that. Somebody clip this. Kevin's Cassidy mark. It's
No,
done.
I'm not.
My
I don't
job's
like
done.
it. I
No,
don't like it. I
you
understand it. I understand it.
The amount of trust that Cassidy has to have. Sorry. The amount of trust that Cassidy has to have to be able to do the stuff that he does, it's overwhelming to me. Like that suicide dive with no hands whatsoever, like, and he just turns sideways in midair. Like, I'm ballsy, but that's a whole nother realm of just like, Jesus, take the wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if they miss the catch, he's dead. Like he's dead.
Like, and that's the thing, man. Like, wrestling teaches you to protect yourself and protect others, and I think that's why Cassidy is so hyped. You know what I mean? It's a very simple gimmick. Like, it really is if you think about it. But the stuff that he does, he's not doing anything different than what other people are doing. It's just he's doing it with no hands.
But see, you know, Zach, in the style of wrestling that you have, in the style of wrestling that you do, you could really attest to this. You know, when you're facing a scary spot or a sketchy spot, what's the one thing you always tell somebody? Don't tense up, or else you're going to get hurt. Just trust me and relax.
Don't think about it. Don't
he
be
does
left
from
or
bell to
right.
bell.
Just be forward. Yeah.
That's what he does from bell to bell. He just relaxes. So once again, don't like it. I understand it. Big difference.
My thing with Cassidy, I find him very entertaining. I like him. You know, we clearly share the same last name. He spelled his wrong, but whatever. But I don't necessarily like. I'm not really getting into the whole thing of them pushing him to the main event era, because it's a really cute comedy gimmick. It's really fun. It's really entertaining in the mid card. But to me, if they ever have him Kenny Omega put him over in a serious match, I'm gonna be like, really? You know what I mean? Even the fact that Jericho put him over, and then they didn't even do anything with it.
But it had to be a gimmick match. It had to be a gimmick match.
But still,
that's
they still didn't do anything. He hasn't went over Jericho, and they didn't do anything really with it. You know what I mean?
And the thing
that was
about
my
it
argument
is,
last week, and I got yelled at by somebody.
He just beat Jericho. What else does he need to do? He beat the GOAT. The one thing I want to add in here, though, is John Silver's finisher, that spin doctor, is pretty legit. Not gonna lie.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah.
John Silver is big for no reason. The entire time I'm watching this match, I was like, why do you need to be that damn big? What? You stand 5'4". What is the purpose here? It's hard to be believable when you're that big. Realistically, take somebody like John Silver, put them up against Orange Cassidy. There is a huge, substantial size difference here. You know what I mean? Cassidy is tall and lanky. Silver is, short and built like a brick house. So when Silver kicks him or punches him,
I mean, Pac is the same way.
But Pac's in high impact matches. I can see John Silver should be where there has the way he's built. He needs to be facing people like Brody Lee and not
See, and that's what I'm saying. For him to take one single shot and just throw it at Cassidy and it connect, that should be enough to at least make Cassidy bump. You know what I mean? Not stumble back to the ropes, not stumble back to the buckle. And I feel like that's my biggest problem with that. When you have somebody who is big like that, look at Brian Cage, for example. Brian Cage is huge, dude, huge. If he was to ever, I've seen him work on the independent scene where he hits these dudes and nothing happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They stumble back, and I'm like, if you're gonna do it, you have to play your size. That's the one thing
that Darby Allin does.
Yeah, that's the one thing in wrestling that I will swear by from day in and day out until I am not able to talk anymore, and then I'm just gonna have to text it to everybody. Wrestling only works when you can make it believable in what you're doing. You know what I mean?
There are some exceptions. They've done exceptions, like Hurricane when he was doing the choke slam, right? There's some exceptions, but they're generally just.
He's a superhero. Hurricane's a superhero. He can do that.
Jesus Christ, Sandy.
Kevin's all the regrets.
So we're gonna go to MJF versus Chris Jericho. MJF picks up the win. We all called it. He joins the Inner Circle. I'm still sticking to what I said. We kind of saw shades of this with his induction and Sammy getting the wrong email or only one email or whatever the case may be. I really think they're going in the direction of Cody and Kenny when they were disputing who the leader was of the Bullet Club. I think they're going to try to do something very similar to that. We all know Jericho's leaving to go on tour. He's going to be gone for a while. MJF is going to sneak his way in. He's going to be that slimy, slithery snake, that top heel in the business that we all know he is. And he's really going to start to cause that friction between the Inner Circle. And I think it ultimately leads with the Inner Circle disbanding. I think it's time. They need a good story to break them all up. Sammy's got the rub from Jericho. Santana and Ortiz have been put back on the map where they've always been. Jake Hager's been recognized as a dominant person. the inner circle has really played its course, and I think this is what they use to finally split them up and have them go in their own directions.
The inner circle is fine. It's okay. That's the promos we're going to get.
He does suck, and that's why he's the best.
Mm-hmm. Everyone asks me all the time, like, who's your least favorite wrestler right now? I was like, well, you have to say MJF because you love to hate this guy. Like, everything he does is despicable to a T, and it's just beauty the way he's able to work that. I love the way he interacts with everybody else.
The War Room isn't going anywhere. We just landed on
go.
Real Pro Wrestling. We have a partnership between me and Zach. It ain't going nowhere. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching, and we will be here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for watching.
But yeah, and so I love the fact that they're building the storyline. We knew he had to go over. When you put a stipulation like winner gets in, then generally, so it's always in a storyline the way in. I love the way they ended it though. They teased it with the bat like it was going to be the Eddie Guerrero finish.
Eddie Guerrero spot.
And then Aubrey, she's a gem. We got to save her. And didn't fall for it though. And then he gets the roll up and then pulls the tights. The tight pull though was a little, kind of played with it too much. But
to each their own with Aubrey Edwards. To each their own.
Nope, she's a gem. We got to save her.
No, the best referees are invisible. Aubrey Edwards is very visible, and she makes herself very visible. The best
but it works.
The best referees, you don't know they're there.
No, because not in this day and age of wrestling anymore. Because now so many people are sticklers for rules that you have to have the referee there to make sure.
I feel like that's a shot at me.
Oh no, definitely not at you or anything that we do in our promo community league, TikTok Wrestling on TikTok.
I didn't give you another couple more gray hairs when our first two events with that, but I digress.
But yeah, I think Aubrey does her job well in the sense where she enforces the rules as a ref should. When she needs to come in, that's when we notice her. When we don't need to notice her.
When the ref is outshining the match, that's a problem.
That's a wrestler problem, not a ref problem.
I agree. I actually kind of agree. If the wrestlers cannot keep the attention the referee does, then the wrestlers are doing something wrong. Like you are the main attraction. Yeah. If you cannot keep the attention of the audience, that's on you. Unless the match calls for it, of course. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like a story thing. But I will agree with one thing Ryan said there, how like it was a predictable finish. And unlike another match on the card where I felt the finish was predictable, this one worked and like it did well. I thought it was really great. It's still amazing to see how good Jericho is at 50, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like at the age of 50, he's still better than like a lot of talent out there. But yeah, predictable finish, but great match, two great workers. And the story just worked. It was really great.
So I want to save these two particular matches for last because, in my opinion, I think these were the two matches of the night. One slightly better than the other. So we're going to skip those two and go directly into the the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match, the I Quit match, Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley. This was the one match where I said I couldn't choose a winner. I couldn't see either one of these guys saying I quit. I thought they really... If I would have picked a winner, I would have picked it to be Eddie Kingston because I thought they would have to humanize Mox. I wanted Renee to be there. I wanted them to attack Renee and to stop them from hurting her. Moxley says I quit. I kind of wanted them to go that route. But I didn't pick a winner, so technically I got this match wrong too because I didn't pick anybody. But if I would have picked, I probably would have went Kingston. I know Zach's shaking his head at me. Zach is a huge Mox fan. We'll save him for last. Shut up, Zach. Let's go to Remy.
This was probably one of my least favorite matches of the night, solely because of how predictable it was. No, I love Moxley. Moxley's one of my favorites, but my problem was...
Let's just do this till it's his time to talk.
Moxley is there stone cold, and there was no universe he was saying I quit. It was not going to happen. It was never in the cards, and the only way they could have done it would have been, as I said, to rip off the Mankind Rock thing from years ago, or to essentially rip off WWE with the Jey Uso thing, doing what that to Renee. And I didn't like either of those possible finishes. I didn't think they would blatantly rip off something that just happened and just blatantly rip off WWE. So I'm just like, Moxley has to win. You could have picked any other stipulation, and I would have had a more believable chance of Moxley losing. But there's no universe where Moxley's ever going to say I quit. So I felt like that one was just a gimme. It was a good match, but like the outcome, that was the most predictable outcome of the night, in my opinion. Moxley's never saying I quit. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I do like and when I first saw the match, I was very disappointed at the ending because this was one of my favorite stories that they've been telling. Is the story between Kingston and Moxley, and Kingston's promos have been fire. They've been so good. Like, they give me goosebumps watching it. I was like, you got to give this guy a title at this point. Like, if he only holds one title in his life, like, let it be now against Moxley. However, when the match started, and as soon as I love the thumbtack bump and then pulling out the rubbing alcohol, I thought that was genius. I was like, ooh, like, it's kind of cool because, like, oh yeah, like, I'm your friend, so I'm gonna clean you, but I know this hurts. Like, it's it's the pain, but I'm like, hey, at least he's looking out for him.
You bring up the promos, and there's just two things I have to butt in. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but in recent memory, there's been two promos. There's been two lines that really made me feel something. One of them was Jey Uso, "Which one are you?" That one really hit me because it made that promo real.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was Eddie Kingston saying he was going to take the World's Championship, hand it to his mother, and say, "This is why you don't have a grandchild." That his promos have been phenomenal. Best mic work I've seen out of Eddie Kingston his entire career. He's right up. These promos he's been shooting are right up there with a Dusty promo, with the Cody promos. I mean, these particular promos were just as good as any promo I've ever heard.
You're offending Zach, I think.
Oh, he's ready to pop off. He is ready to go nuts right now. That's why we're going to let Sandy finish, and then we'll clear some airspace for Zach.
But yeah, the only final point was I didn't like the finisher at first. I know the barbed wire around the arm and like giving him the neck crank. I was like, oh, come on, Eddie, don't come. I wanted Eddie to pass out. They kept saying like, if he passes out, he can't say I quit. And it was kind of just going to end like by ref decision. So Eddie can get a rematch. Then Eddie said I quit. And it kind of hurt my heart a little bit, but I'm a huge Moxley fan. I'm happy he's having it. He's losing it to Kenny. We can talk about that later, like how that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen on a Dynamite, but we'll see.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, for the biggest rebuttal ever done on this entire show since it started, I give you Zach.
Let me tell you why all of you were fucking wrong. First off, I like Kingston. I really do. And don't get me wrong, I may be a Mox guy. I am. I'm not gonna hide that. I have watched Jon Moxley as Jon Moxley since Straight Edge. What was it? Straight Edge Conspiracy with him and Sami Callihan. Oh, I want to say back in like CZW, dude. Like, I have always been a Mox guy. From all of it. Is he getting to the point that he doesn't need the title? I don't think he needed the title in the first place. All right, I'm going to say that. You can mark that down. Kevin, quote me on that. But since he has it, when you're looking at it from a standpoint of business, what's going to bring you more? Because that's ultimately like the way that you got to look at it. Like, if you set yourself off from the side of it, and you go, okay, I'm not just a wrestling fan. If I was looking at it from a business aspect, who's more marketable? I promise you, it's not Eddie Kingston.
Agreed.
And that's not taking away from Kingston in any way, shape, or form. That's not me saying that like Kingston is garbage or trash or he's not marketable. I don't think he has been in the AEW pond long enough to be credible enough to hold the AEW championship, let alone take it off of Jon Moxley. That was my same argument with Brody Lee. Again, love Brody Lee. Watched him on the independent scene. Like, these are all dudes that, like, I enjoy to sit back and just watch. But Brody came in, and I feel like he had such a bigger story coming in than what Kingston did.
Mm-hmm.
As the Exalted One. And if they weren't taking the title off of him to put it on Brody Lee, they damn sure weren't doing it with Kingston. It's going to be Omega. It's going to be. Hands down. It's going to be at a pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a Dynamite. I think those two are going to absolutely kill each other like they did in the past. But it'll be Omega who takes that title off of Moxley.
And now's a good time to segue into this
Ever.
before.
No, hold on. I'm not done. I'm telling you right now. Don't you ever compare an Eddie Kingston promo a promo to Dusty.
I'm not saying it was better, but it's in the conversation.
I would say though, like that Mama promo, like not every single promo, but that one was fantastic.
That specific promo is what I'm talking about.
It was forgettable.
If Dusty's
I disagree about being forgettable.
If Dusty's promos are here, everyone else's are here, and that one promo from Kingston was here. Okay. It's in the conversation.
The one thing I will say is also, like, even if Eddie Kingston won, they're passing the title to Kenny anyway, so it would have just been a transitional champion, and I think that would have taken it away from Eddie and done him a big disservice. Like, if Eddie wins it, he should have a reign. It shouldn't just be like, hey, we're giving it to you so Moxley doesn't have to lose to Omega.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and address kind of what Zach already hit at, and then we'll get into the last two matches of the card. Moxley Omega, December 2nd, on a Dynamite show. Now, I understand because the pay-per-view is so far away, and we kind of talked about this in the backstage. I see this match being a double count-out. Neither one of them get to their feet for 10, a double DQ, something where the rematch has to happen. I feel like this is just a taste, a little bit to keep you on the line because Revolution is so far away. In wrestling wrestling time, Revolution might as well be a year away. It's not till late January. We're not even in December yet. So they have to give you something to kind of keep you there, like that saving point, that checkpoint that makes you okay with waiting even longer. So I think that's kind of why they went with the Dynamite episode. I do believe the main event, I think Mox retains, whether it be double DQ, whatever. The belt ain't leaving them on Dynamite. But it is going to be that checkpoint, that saving point that gets us to Revolution where Omega finally takes the title.
You're right, because what they're going to do is they're going to take it and they're going to go, okay, hey, we're going to take everything that you guys originally did. And that's Moxley coming in, hitting the Paragon shift, standing on top of the chips, doing the entire nine. All right, we're going to take all of that. We're going to take your hardcore match. We're going to compile it all into one thing. All right, so there's your backstory. Now going forward, we're right in the middle of it. Let's put you guys on Dynamite. Go main event it. You'll have 20 minutes. Go out there, do this. This is going to be your finish. And they are going to set it up so they can milk this as far as they can going into the pay-per-view. Because when you look at it, Mox versus Omega is a main event in any way, shape, or form. Now, put the title on the line at a pay-per-view, there's all your sales.
Now, do you think the title match at the pay-per-view will be a gimmick match like a Last Man Standing or Iron Man? That's another thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it doesn't need to be. Like I don't.
You agree with everything Zach says. Zach can say the Earth is flat and the sky is purple, and you'll agree with it.
Hold up, the sky's not purple.
You literally beat me by like 2 seconds.
I was trying to do the math. I was like, but it is.
But I don't think it needs to be a gimmick match. Like, if you look at it, every gimmick match that Mox has ever been in since being in AEW, he's undefeated. Like, I understand, like, he has a very undefeated streak.
It's not just gimmick matches, it's every match.
No, I understand that, but, like...
Then why'd you say it?
Hold on. Every main match, though. Think about it. Like, the stuff that he was doing on Dynamite, like, dude, he destroyed Darby Allin. It didn't take a lot of effort for him. You see what I'm saying?
He destroyed Brian Cage too. I mean, like, the thing is, John Moxley's destroyed everyone in his path, which is why, like, if it was going to be Moxley and Omega, I wouldn't want them in a standard 30-minute regular match. It's got to be a 2 out of 3 falls. It's got to be a 60-minute Iron Man match or something like this. If they're going to play it off that they're going to battle on Dynamite, Omega's got to lose that, or it has to go to a point where it's a double count out, like we were talking about, because that needs to build to a bigger stipulation. Hell, I'll see him in a cage match.
That's going to be our next time limit draw, is going to be that Dynamite World Title match.
If it's a
Which
time
is
of
why
God,
he's
that's
doing an
an
Iron Man match or
Which
something.
is why it has to be a gimmick at the pay-per-view.
Exactly.
I just do an Iron Man.
Iron Man match. I could see a 2 out of 3 falls. I think those would be honestly the best bet compared to just being like, hey, we're going to put you guys in another hardcore match.
Yeah.
We're going to do this again. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you add that 2 out of 3 falls aspect, like, it'll make it better for it in the long run. I would rather see an Iron Man match where those two just go out there and work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because again, when was the last real good Iron Man match you guys remember?
Sasha
I think the last
Bailey,
one was
Sasha Bailey.
Yeah, like
Sasha Bailey, but even then, like I was gonna say, like, didn't Randy Orton and wasn't Randy and Cena in one a while, like 2008,
I think it
2009?
was Michaels and Triple H maybe. Also.
Michael Triple H had another really good one.
But like that's it, right? Like this would be the first Iron Man match, and like there's no one's not going to be entertained by like Kenny Omega and Moxley going 60 minutes. You know what I mean? They're
Exactly.
going to steal the show. It's probably going to be one of the best matches of the year, and
it's going to happen in February. Exactly.
It's gonna happen like that early, and it's going to set the pace for the entire year. You know?
Right.
So, and also, it's like this whole thing that Kenny Omega is going to say, like, because Moxley running around saying, I'm the best wrestler, and Kenny can like steal it and like prove it 60 minutes, you versus me, you know?
So while we're talking about Kenny Omega, while we're talking about going out there and putting in the work, while we're talking about stealing the show and being possibly the best match of the night, we've got to talk about Omega versus Page. This started the main card. This is the first match of the official pay-per-view, and holy shit, was it a banger. There's so much stuff that I can go in and talk about with this match. There are so many points that I can break down and say, this was great, that was great, this was great. But the one for me...
What'd you hate?
I didn't hate anything.
Holy shit, there is one match. Okay.
Didn't hate anything. Didn't hate a damn bit of it. But what I absolutely loved, made my mouth water, I thought was a great spot, the buckshot lariat turned into a V-trigger. That shit was brutal. It was beautiful. It was poetry in motion. I know that's another move. I'm using the phrase, not the move. It was the most beautiful car crash I've ever seen in my life. And when you think of two guys that can go out here and put on an absolute banger of a show, did we expect anything less?
No. Definitely not. Like, I was more shocked that this wasn't the main event, like, to be honest. Like, but if you're not going to be the main event, you got to get it first.
When I heard that they were opening the
if you're
show,
not going to be if you're not going to be last, you want to be first.
When I heard they were opening the show, the first thing that went through my mind was like, "You're getting some pretty big balls, AEW, putting in like that's a ballsy move to put Kenny Omega and Page on first because the wrestler card better bring it, otherwise you just did the
not to mention on the pre-show we had that phenomenal women's match,
right? Like,
right.
Like you put that pre-show like classic on, then you put this, and I'm like, the rest of your card better be stellar because if it's not, you guys are gonna look really dumb when like people just start zoning out like after like the first match, and like thankfully the rest of the card did bring it, but I was like, wow, that was ballsy.
That was that's honestly the definition of trusting your talent, man. Like understanding that, all right, we're gonna put Kenny and Adam first. You guys have to bring it. Like, you have to be on your A game. And given, yes, there was, some spots and matches and stuff that could have been better. There, you know what I mean? Like Kevin said, like, we're not perfect, But man, it's ballsy, dude. Because like you want to set the bar on your first match. Like, your second match can kind of be like whatever, and that's looking at it from like a booker standpoint. Like, you don't want to open up with a hardcore match, and there's certain things that you don't want to do, putting
that match takes me back to the movie Remember the Titans. The final scene of Remember the Titans, when they're standing in the locker room and Julian goes, I ain't perfect, and ain't none of us ever going to be, but as a team, we have been perfect. Nobody's perfect, but as a match, every Kenny and Hangman match have been as close to perfect as you're going to get.
Yep.
I would have been happy with either one of them going over. We all knew it was going to be Kenny. Yeah. It's Kenny's time. This has been, with Kenny anyway, this has been long-term booking at its best, in my opinion. The best it's been in years. Maybe there's been some back in the day, but of recent memory, this is some of the best long-term storytelling. And what a fucking match, guys.
And you know the weirdest part? That was still my second favorite match of the night.
Really? No, this was definitely my first favorite. That one-winged angel ending.
I was just about to say that, dude. The struggle on the one-winged angel, bro. It was everything that it needed to be, because it showed that Adam still had enough fight where he was very aware of like what was going on, and he was just like, I'm not doing it. And as soon as Kenny felt the back of like that, as soon as he felt the back of the neck, he just drove it. And I was like, that was perfect.
Three things about that one spot. That I absolutely loved, and all of you already hit on it. There's only one thing that we haven't said. We've said it previously, but we haven't said it tonight. I love the struggle. I love the fight in Adam Page all the way to the end. I love the never say die attitude. You're going to have to kill me to get me. I love the fact that as soon as, like, he didn't just give it to him. Kenny had to work for every inch of that, every second of the match. Kenny had to work nonstop. As soon as he felt the neck, it was go time. It wasn't let me readjust, let me reposition. It was let's go. I know Omega is a level of athlete that he can land this safely, so let me just do it. They were perfectly in sync with, and I love the fact that the one-winged angel is the most protected finisher in all of pro wrestling today. You see so many times people kick out a finishers are finishers because they are what they say they are. They finish the match. Yep. We see a million super kicks. Back in the day, that was it. Back in the day, a DDT ended your life. We see DDTs, paradigm shifts, super kicks, 450 splashes, frog splashes, all this other stuff. When you see that one-winged angel, there's only been two people to ever kick out of the one-winged angel. Okada and Jericho, both on New Japan cards. The one-winged angel is the most protected finisher, and because of that, we appreciate it so much more. And I love the fact that they respected that move in this match. They used it to finish. You only seen it once, and that was it.
And it was like the little things about it. I love
how protected it is.
It's like the little things, like, again, like the struggle. Like, a lot of people don't realize how important that is for, like, the drama of the match, like the character for Adam Page to fight, you know what I mean? And it's just like little things like that made that match so good.
Because in reality, that struggle was less than 3 seconds, but as fans, we were sitting there and felt like it went on for hours.
Yeah, I was convinced he was going to counter it. Like, the way he was struggling, like, he's gonna do something. He's gonna do, and then I'm like, oh snap.
When it hits, though, you know it's over too. It's like,
yeah.
Gas out of the air.
My favorite thing about the struggle was, like, it didn't just start when Kenny had him on the shoulders.
Yeah.
But from the point that Kenny bent down, like, that struggle started going.
A fight to get him up, a fight to switch the leg, a fight to get the neck. The only thing that wasn't a fight was the 3 count.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's because it's, like, the most protected finisher, right? Like, there is no fight for it. What's up?
Yeah, I love the fact they protect that finisher. I wish more finishers were like that. Back in the day, it was WrestleMania cards you seen finishers being kicked out of, and that was it. And that's because they were building to WrestleMania, and they were building that event for what it is. So I can understand that. But now it's everybody has to hit 9 finishers. The only reason I was okay with the Avalanche Crossroads is because foot under the rope.
Yeah,
I can understand that. But kicking out of somebody's finisher 5 times in a regular Dynamite match is just absurd to me. And I love how that finisher is so protected. So getting into the final match of the card, then I have one other thing I want to talk about that happened on AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. But getting into the final match of the card, and I do have some nitpicks. Remy's going to hate me.
This is my favorite match of the card right here. My favorite right here.
You watch what you say.
We have the Tag Team Championship match, Young Bucks versus FTR. If the Young Bucks fail to capture or if the Young Bucks lose, they will never get another title shot for the AEW Championships. The Bucks go over. And did anybody notice the new titles?
No. They added their new titles?
So on the original ones, it's just one plate. On the new ones, the AEW is a relief plate, a risen plate like this TNT.
I noticed it kind of looked different on Dynamite than it had before. Like, that was one thing I just never saw the AEW tag team belts super up close like that. But on Dynamite, when the Young Bucks were holding them, I kind of noticed they did look more defined.
The only one that I've ever seen up close was the one that Kevin owns. Like, that's it. So I didn't even know.
Which one?
The tag time.
Oh, yeah. So mine is just a flat plate. But if you look at the ones they had over their shoulders, the AEW is a separate plate. It's a stacked plate. It's a new title.
Cool.
All right. I'm not mad at that.
So let me go ahead and get this
Subtle
out of the
changes.
let me go ahead and get this out of the way. The only thing I didn't like about I thought it was a phenomenal match. Loved the match. Was very entertained. I do think that the Bucks and FTR tend to go a little too long. But what I did not like about this match, and it's because the length of the match, you put everything into it. I saw a lot of stuff that happened in the previous matches. Now, in the beginning of the show, I told you guys to remember that Avalanche Crossroads, how he rolled across the ring, got his foot under the rope.
Right.
That's the exact same way Matt Jackson broke up the 450. He rolled across the ring, got his foot by the rope. It was the same exact thing. And there were numerous things like that, very, very subtle things. If you weren't paying attention to it, you wouldn't catch them. But, Zach, me and you have had these talks many times about using the same things in matches. I thought the match was great. If it would have been the first match, I would have had nothing bad to say about it. But because I saw a lot of what had happened in the previous, not matches that happened the previous night or the previous week, the same night, the previous matches of this card, I saw a lot of those matches in this match, and that's the only thing I didn't like. Had it have been the first match, would have nothing bad to say about it.
No, absolutely. I think when push comes, and honestly, it just comes down to lack of communication and not paying attention to what's going on in the other match. Like that's what it comes down to.
It's going to be a draw on Dynamite. It's going to lead to the pay-per-view match.
When you're in the back and you're calling stuff and you're talking with the boys, and you know what I mean? Sometimes the best thing that you can do is just be quiet and listen to what everybody else is doing. So as well as I do, like, that wasn't a call on the fly spot between Darby and Cody. That was a, hey, this is what we're going to do, and I feel like this is the best way to protect you.
I think they're victims of Group A planning their match, Group B planning their match. Nobody know what's going on for the rest of the card. So I don't think they meant to do it. I don't think it was on purpose. I just think they both thought of, hey, what's going to look really cool? And when you get 6 top-tier athletes, Cody, Darby, FTR, and the Bucks, they're probably going to think of some of the same shit. Like, right. I completely understand it.
So
it's just, it was a turnoff for me.
But it also comes down to, that there's monitors in the back. You know what I mean? And even if you're, like, calling your match and stuff, the boys in the back are watching. You can hear it. You see what I'm saying? So, like, when you're looking at it from that aspect, and even before they walk out, like, as well as I do, they have a gorilla position. Mm-hmm. Somebody somewhere could have been like, hey, guys, just so you know, Cody and Darby did that. And they could have switched it. They could have called an audible. Like, it didn't have to be roll under the ropes. You see what I'm saying?
Go completely out of the ring. Roll completely out of the ring.
Get out of the ring. Why? One, it's different. And two, nobody would have questioned it.
The time it takes him to lift you up, put you back in the ring, and get the cover, it's reasonable for you to kick out now.
Absolutely.
Well, my biggest thing is my biggest thing with a lot of Young Buck matches that we see on AEW. They try to do too much. It's always like you have to do 5,001 moves. I feel like I'm watching a Chris Jericho armbar contest. But it comes down to the fact of, I don't need to see a 3D. I don't need to see the twist of fate with the Swanton bomb. I mean, yes, those are pop moves, but the Elite has so many cool moves already that they can already go to. I'd rather see 2 Meltzer drivers and like a Spanish fly than try to see them like try to do these recreations of stuff. Because, I mean, the leg on the rope wasn't the exact same. Darby had his leg under the rope. Matt was able, when they lifted his leg went on tape. On the rope. So it was slightly different, but it was just like when you do so many of those moves, because they had so many false finishes and so many different aspects, I think they used every single one of them in the book. And so it's kind of hard. And I don't like the ending. Like we were just saying, like how some finishers are protected.
The DIY reference.
Yeah, that was a good one when they did the DIY reference. I wasn't expecting
and the commentary
that one.
even said it. Shades of DIY.
Yeah. We popped for that in our little group chat we were in. And the other thing, I know it was in WWE, but what happened to No Flips, Jeff's fist? Because literally,
I think it's evolving the character. I think they recognize that, we are.
As soon as the match ended, Wheeler texts No Flips.
I gotta go. Sorry to interrupt, and I don't mean to, but I got to hop off here. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking with all of you. Kevin, continue to do your thing, and I will yell at you later for all the points that you have that I'm not willing to agree with. Other than that, have a good night, boys.
Zach, thanks for joining. Thanks for letting us
Take
use the
care.
platform, bud. I do think we're watching the two best tag teams in the world right now. I honestly believe that. And like I said, when you get people who are of that caliber, you're going to have a lot of the same thought process. I really did pop for the, not so much them doing the DIY move, but them actually saying that's a DIY move. I absolutely loved it.
For me,
Go ahead.
it was my favorite match of the night, straight up. I grew up watching Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys, so I like love what tag team wrestling used to be, and it's really, to me, fallen off drastically since then. And the whole story these two teams were telling were that they were the greatest tag team of all time. They're the greatest tag team of all time. So I actually felt like them using the moves of the other tag team and like paying homage to them worked with the story. Whereas in like a lot of other cases, I would agree with you, Ryan, that like they have their own moves, but like the greatest, and they're trying to like show off like some of the other greatest tag teams of all time. So it works with the story. Again, like there were little things like the foot, but like it was so refreshing to see such a great tag team match. And to see the Revival or FTR used how they should have been this whole time, because I was watching them in WWE, and like watching them in WWE was brutal compared to like what they get to do now, and seeing them get to compete against real teams like the Young Bucks, you know. So it was so nice to see FTR get to be the best tag team they've been claiming to be. It was so refreshing to see the Young Bucks go up against someone of that caliber. I loved the homage to all the moves. It was such a great match. It was so refreshing to see that tag team wrestling can be alive and that there is the talent there. I just loved it.
So, guys, we are at the 1 hour, 20-minute mark. There's one other thing I want to address really quick before we get off here, and then we got to wrap things up. The Cody spot on Dynamite. Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
You're excited for this?
What? I am, and I can tell you exactly why, and you're probably not going to agree with me.
I thought the woman's promo was garbage.
Oh, yes, but she's new. I love Brandy's response to it. I'm happy to see, like, it gives Jade Cargill, it gives Jade Cargill, like, someone to work with, and Brandy, it could put her over in a spotlight. We haven't seen Brandy, like, really strong. That was the first promo I saw. I'm like, ooh, Brandy could she can speak on the mic well. Like, she could probably work in the ring with her pretty well. What I do like about the Shaq spot, Shaq's going to probably take 2 bumps. It doesn't matter. This is going to be like WrestleMania 3 when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. Cody's going to slam Shaq, and that's just going to be a huge payoff. And it's going to – the best part about it, it's going to combine AEW with NBA on TNT, which is going to start up in December. So like how what's up, Daniel Smith? Of course you're going to shout out, my dude.
How you doing, man?
But yeah, I think Shaq he's just a 7'1". Like, it's undisclosed that Shaq's a 7-foot person. Like, you know, everyone knows Shaq. He's huge. He's massive. What would be the sight if Cody Rhodes can pick him up and slam him? That would be epic. And I would just love to see that. That would be the biggest payoff for me. As long as we can see Cody slam Shaq, it's all it's done.
I personally, I've never been huge on like celebrities do it. Like the only celebrity match I was actually like kind of into was Stephen Amell. When he showed up, because like he was decent, he put in the work. You know what I mean? Like you could tell that he tried. You know, like with Christopher Daniels and with Cody. Whereas like Shaq, like he's cool. He's done some of the stuff with the Big Show, but it's also not even the first time seeing him. Like it was the first time seeing him in the ring, and then Cody did it. I feel like it would be bigger, but we've also seen him, and they've also been teasing him in Big Show forever. So it just shows that they're trying to do something that WWE did.
I think there's a lot left on the table before I can really give my opinion. You know, I got to side with Remy. If it was the first time we've seen him, I'd probably be more excited for it. It's not. When Tyson came out, everybody said, oh, WWE did this first. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't know. I hope they do something great with it. But I just think there's a lot left on the table before I can start giving my opinion on it. Guys, we have went about 24 minutes over. I thank everybody for watching. We have a brand new exit video, so stick around. Watch that really quick. Got pictures of a lot of people you're going to recognize, and if you want to be on that exit video, message me, and I'll let you know how you can get on it and be a part of the War Room every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on our way out. Gentlemen, please let people know where they can find you, follow you, and I will send us home.
I am the Macho Fan, RHE on TikTok. I'm the Macho Fan on almost every social media site too. You can find me anywhere. I feel way too damn good. I'm also the co-CEO of NGTTWF with my boy Heel Hugs. Shout out Heel Hugs. Make sure you are following Heel Hugs, Hugs Knuckles on every platform as well.
Right
there
there.
he is, right there. There's
Hugs.
the Tyson one on AEW. It was entertaining for what it was, but yeah,
Click
go
that
follow
like button,
Hug
guys.
Knuckles TV, Heel Hugs.
Click the like button, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're
Do
watching.
that.
And if you are not watching on, well, I'll get to that. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to tell you how to win a free belt. Don't go anywhere. Remy, let everybody know where they can find you and follow you.
Remy Cassidy on TikTok and again, pretty much every other social media app. You can also find me in TTWF and NGT, Heel Club for Life.
Guys, this has been The War Room. If you are watching on any platform aside from our YouTube channel, you need to go to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe. It is in the description on every video. So wherever you're watching, look at the description. That link right there, Wrestling Review Society 1, that's going to take you directly to our YouTube page, and you can subscribe to it. Now, why is that important? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you. We just had a massive giveaway celebrating 1,000 members where one lucky person won 2 free championship belts. We are giving away another championship belt when we hit 1,500 members. And all you have to do to be eligible to win, you don't have to pay a dime. This is absolutely free. All you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Wrestling Review Society YouTube channel. And I'll make it even easier for you. Just click that link in the description, and I'll let you know right now, if it doesn't look like this, it's the wrong one. There's going to be 2 that pops up. It's this one. That's the one you want to subscribe to, and you are automatically eligible. I don't care where you live in the world. UK, Mexico, Canada, Australia. It does not matter. If you win, you will receive it absolutely free, shipping paid, and all that other good stuff. Huge shout out to our sponsors. Huge shout out to Real Pro Wrestling, allowing us to use their platform. I look forward to joining their commentary team when they start their live shows coming very soon in January. And guys, like I said, we have a brand new exit video for you guys. So if you want to be a part of this exit video, if you want your picture up here, if you want to be a part of the hottest podcast in wrestling today, The War Room, every Thursday at 7 p.m., check out this exit video and then message me, and I'll let you know how to be a part of it. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week.